Work avoidance is a sneaky form of self-sabotage, and it is holding you back from achieving your goals. So imagine having an important task to complete, like let's say you have a paper due or some a project due, but instead what you're doing is scrolling on your phone on social media, you're reorganizing your desk, and you're doing any and everything but writing or working on that project. Well, you are not alone, because this is work avoidance, and it is fueled by perfectionism, that very perfectionism that we wrestle with every single day. Now, this week, I set a goal to write for 2 hours every day until my project was complete. It sounds simple, just 2 hours a day, right? But here's the thing, as soon as I sat down to write, that cycle began. And that cycle was one of distraction and overthinking and just an overwhelming sense of needing everything to be just right, to be perfect, to even start to write. And writing started to feel impossible to start. I know this sounds familiar to some of you, maybe not in writing, but some other task or goal or project that you set for yourself. So I want to share some of the things that I've learned about overcoming this work avoidance that is a part of the perfectionism that we face every day. Number one is the power of transitions. So I realized that I couldn't jump from one activity or one task to another. So I couldn't just jump from like what I do regularly in my day to day work and then into the writing, because I needed to have something to push me to take action. I needed some kind of transition so that I could focus on whatever that new task was or that new goal or project was that I was working on. And that's where the transitions come in. And for me, transitions look like taking a quick walk outside. Transitions looked like enjoying an aromatherapy bath to engage my senses and clear my mind. Transitions also looked like just reading or listening to something inspiring, uplifting, whether it's something on the Bible app or some affirmations, or reading a piece, a piece of text or whatever that was, but engaging in some kind of reading or listening before actually starting the task is a way that I transitioned myself into the task. And these kinds of transitional moments help me to shift gears and get into the right mindset to start working on that project or that task that I had set a goal to accomplish for that day or for that week. And really, without those transitions, I I would stay stuck. I would stay stuck in that distraction mode, in that cycle that I talked about, and I wouldn't take action. I would be in inaction, or I'd be taking action on all the things that I didn't need to take action on. So the lesson here is to build in intentional transitions into like the time that you set for your goal. So my goal was writing for 2 hours. That meant that my transitional time was included in those 2 hours, even though I didn't actually sit to write for 2 straight hours, right? So you have to build in the intentional transitions into whatever your goal time is for completing the task, because those transitions are absolutely necessary. It's part of a routine that you need to move from avoidance to action. The next thing I want to talk about that I learned is the importance of creating that comfortable, inspiring space, because our environment that we work in matters. So when I forced myself to write in the same space where I handled other tasks or other duties, and sometimes those are stressful tasks, I really can't focus in the same space, and I have to switch things up. So, to complete my writing task, the goal that I set for myself, I had to create a workspace that was happy, that was comfy, that was inspiring. And what I did was I chose to do the writing task outdoors because I was surrounded by nature, the breeze, the sunlight, the birds singing, the trees, all of that, right? I love to be outdoors. And so I wanted to create a inspiring, happy, comfy space. So choosing to be in nature and be outdoors to do that task was important. Another thing I did was I chose to add things that, that I love, like the music. Like I listen to Afro beats and reggae and dance hall. And so I choose to have those things in my space, as well as my loving dogs, because I just love them, and seeing them and being around them makes my heart happy, right? And of course, I have like a really cute, cozy setup. I got my computer, I got my Stanley Cup, I have my tea, I have my snacks. And so I create this space that I love to be in that makes me feel good, makes me feel happy, makes me feel comfy and inspiring. And of course, another thing that's important in the space that I create is engaging my senses, because engaging your senses can spark creativity, and it also can help with your focus. That's what the research says, right? It actually says that engaging senses helps with focus and concentration and creativity. So creating that comfy, inspiring space is a way that you can move from work avoidance to action. So crafting that environment, feeling good about the environment, will make you more likely to show up and stay focused and actually do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Now, the third thing that I learned to embrace during this process is progress over perfection, because one of the hardest things about breaking through my perfectionism is the idea that I have to do everything perfectly, flawlessly. I have to check all the boxes. I have to do everything the right way. And so one of the things that I did to combat this week, and that I will continue to do, is by working in time chunks. So I used the Pomodoro technique, and that allows me, that's like a framework where you set time. So like 20 to 30 minutes of focused time to do whatever it is that you want to do, to work on that task uninterrupted for that time frame. And then you take a break. And then during that short break, you reward yourself, and then you do the task again for another period of time. Then you take a break and you do, whatever the goal time is that you set for yourself. You incorporate, you do it in chunks, and you incorporate short breaks, and then you add rewards to that. And so the rewards were key for me, because the reward could have been like a quick 5-minute scroll on social media, because I was not picking up my phone while I was in that work time, right? It meant getting up, taking like a quick walk. It meant, enjoying a treat, a piece of chocolate or like a fruit, some raspberries, whatever it was. Those small incentives, like, they kept me motivated, and they kept me on track to get into that next time chunk of task completion, because I was looking forward to the next reward. And then that's that's what motivated me. And so when I was finished with my daily goal of 2 hours that I set for myself, I celebrated with something bigger. So I got, a glass of wine with a little cupcake, and of course, and I enjoyed it guilt-free. So here is the takeaway: perfectionism thrives on unrealistic expectations, but when we break up these giant tasks with these incredibly unreal expectations that we set for ourselves, we break the tasks up into smaller chunks so they are more achievable. And then we add the rewards to them. When we make progress, we're able to outsmart that perfectionism, right? So work avoidance is not about laziness. It's really about fear. It's about fear of not being perfect. It is about fear of failing. It's about fear of not meeting sky high standards that we put on ourselves, but we can face those fears with intentional strategies, whether they are those transitions that we build in, creating that inspiring environment to work in, and then breaking things up, doing things in time chunks and rewarding that progress. That's how we can take back the control and that hold that perfectionism has on us. So, progress beats perfection every single time.